Chapter 1. On Willow Ashton's birthday, the mother she had relied on her entire life passed away. Her husband, however, neither celebrated her birthday nor attended her mother's funeral. He went to the airport to pick up the one that got away. After settling her mother's ashes, Willow received a call from her Aunt Victoria. "Willow, your mother is gone now. I really can't rest easy with you staying in the country all alone. Why don't you come abroad and live with me?" Willow was silent for a long time, as if making a momentous decision. Then, with great solemnity, she replied, "Okay." "Really? Oh, that's wonderful news. I'm so glad you're willing to come." On the other end of the line, her aunt's voice was filled with delight. "But I heard you got married back home. Is your husband willing to move abroad with you?" Hearing this, Willow managed a smile. "Don't worry, we're getting divorced soon." Before she could hang up, a commotion erupted outside the door. Julian Fairchild was back. Willow lifted her eyelids, glancing towards the entrance, but didn't go out to greet him as she usually would. Just then, Julian's younger sister, Jessica Fairchild, strode in, a triumphant look on her face. "My brother brought Isabel Montgomery back. You, the second-rate copy, are about to be kicked out." Willow frowned slightly. "Second-rate copy?" Jessica's expression grew even more smug. "You'll understand once you see Isabel." No sooner had she spoken than Julian walked in with Isabel Montgomery. Mr. Davies, the driver, followed behind them, laden with luggage. In Isabel's hands was a huge bouquet of roses, the vivid red blooms dazzling, causing Willow's eyes to redden uncontrollably at the corners. He actually had time to buy her roses. In 5 years of marriage, he had never given her a single flower. "Isabel just got back and hasn't found a place yet. She'll stay with us for a while." Julian didn't even glance at Willow. His gaze remained fixed on Isabel as he spoke. "Tidy up the guest room next to mine. Isabel can stay there." His tone wasn't suggestive, but commanding. As if they weren't husband and wife, as if she were merely a housekeeper in this home. Someone was moving in temporarily, requiring no consent from her, yet demanding she prepare the guest room. "Jules, I can clean it myself, really." "No need to trouble Willow," Isabel said, looking up. Willow finally saw her face. She froze, as if struck immobile, her body stiff and unable to move. In that instant, Willow finally understood what Jessica meant by second-rate copy. Isabel Montgomery had a face remarkably similar to hers. However, Isabel's features were softer, her aura more gentle and graceful, while her own eyes held a touch of the pride characteristic of someone born with a silver spoon. So that's how it was. Willow suddenly smiled, subtly wiping away the tears gathering at the corners of her eyes as she laughed inwardly. So that's how it was. She finally understood. She had always been unlucky. Fate had never favored her. Even her beloved mother had died on her birthday. She'd always wondered, how could an unlucky soul like her be so fortunate? To catch the eye of the Fairchild heir after just one chance encounter and even successfully marry him. So that's how it was. It all made sense now. She was just a stand-in. "Why are you crying? Seriously. Isabel is just staying for a couple of days. Is that worth crying over?" "Willow, you're being so petty, aren't you?" Jessica sneered. Willow quickly shook her head. "No, it has nothing to do with Miss Montgomery." However, before she could finish, Isabel's eyes reddened. "Forget it, I should just leave. I don't want to affect your marriage because of me." Julian's face instantly clouded over. "You don't have to leave." He stopped Isabel, then declared in a tone that brooked no argument, "I call the shots in this house, Mr. Davies. Take the luggage upstairs." The driver looked up, glanced uneasily at Willow, and didn't move. Seeing this, Julian turned his head towards Willow. "Do you have a problem with it?" he asked condescendingly. His tone even carried a hint of a threat. Willow continued to shake her head, her eyes red-rimmed as she smiled. "No problem at all. I warmly welcome Miss Montgomery to stay." No problem, of course, she had no problem. What objections could someone who was about to leave possibly have? She would gracefully step aside and then leave forever, never to return. Chapter 2. Julian stared deeply at Willow, his eyes cold and heavy. Then, he suddenly sneered, "Since you have no objections, then help Mr. Davies carry Isabel's luggage upstairs." He was likely annoyed that she had caused him to lose face in front of his past flame, intentionally humiliating her. Willow's face paled slightly, but she quickly smiled again. "Okay." With that, she turned and started carrying the luggage alongside Mr. Davies. She was so obedient, so compliant. Logically, Julian should have been satisfied, but for some reason, watching her carry the luggage upstairs so naturally, an inexplicable irritation welled up inside him. The room was quickly tidied up. Just as Willow was about to head downstairs, Isabel walked in. "Willow, thank you for letting me stay." She grabbed Willow's hand, frowning pitifully. "If it weren't for you and Jules, I really wouldn't know where to go." Isabel's hand was positioned palm down, and a dazzling glint of light stabbed at Willow's eyes. Willow saw that on Isabel's ring finger was a ring identical to her own wedding band. No, not quite identical. The diamond on Isabel's ring was larger, brighter, more brilliant. It made her own wedding ring look like a cheap imitation. Despite having resolved to leave, Willow's heart still twisted painfully at that moment. So, even her engagement ring was just a cheap imitation. A stand-in paired with an imitation. How fitting just then, the doorbell rang. A delivery guy came in carrying a huge cake. "Wow, who ordered a cake?" Jessica exclaimed. "Brother, did you order this for Isabel?" "Isabel's birthday is next week," Julian replied without looking up. "But I did order her a cake in advance. Did the bakery get the date wrong?" While everyone was puzzled, the delivery guy suddenly called out loudly, "Is Willow Ashton here? The recipient is Willow Ashton. The cake is from your aunt. She asked me to tell you that she knows you're having a hard time today, but she doesn't want you to stay lost in sadness. She's grateful you came into this world. Happy birthday." The living room fell silent. Everyone turned to look at Willow. Julian showed a rare hint of guilt, saying awkwardly, "It's your birthday today? Why didn't you tell me?" Isabel's birthday wasn't for another week, yet he had already ordered her gifts and a cake. But her birthday he had completely forgotten. Then again, she was just a stand-in. Why bother remembering such things? "Oh, right, it's my birthday today. I forgot myself." Willow deflected the awkwardness smoothly. "I didn't expect Aunt Victoria to remember. I should call and thank her properly later. And maybe hurry things along with the move abroad. She wanted to leave sooner rather than later." "Jules, you're really too much. How could you forget your own wife's birthday?" Isabel's tone was like a reprimand, yet also like flirting. "Willow, don't be angry. By the way, when I got off the plane, Jules gave me a gift, a very beautiful diamond necklace. Why don't we consider this necklace Jules' birthday gift to you?" Saying this, Isabel removed the diamond necklace from her neck and handed it to Willow with a smile. "Willow, happy birthday." Chapter 3. The necklace was beautiful, made of rare red diamonds set in heart-shaped platinum, symbolizing unique love. Unfortunately, this unique love wasn't meant for her. "No, thank you." Willow shook her head, politely refusing. "This is Julian's gift to you. How could I take what belongs to someone else? What wasn't hers, she wouldn't take. She wouldn't take the necklace, nor would she take the man who gave it. What's with the sarcastic tone?" Julian suddenly flared up. "So I was busy with work and forgot your birthday? Is it such a big deal? Do you have to be like this?" Willow didn't understand what she had done wrong this time. She hadn't cried or thrown a tantrum. She had been smiling the whole time, speaking politely and appropriately. Why was he still dissatisfied? "I wasn't being sarcastic." Willow lowered her eyes, hiding the exhaustion within them. "Julian, what do you want me to do then? Accept the necklace. If you want me to accept it, I will." Saying this, she actually took the necklace and sincerely thanked Isabel. "Miss Montgomery, thank you for the gift." As a stand-in, Willow felt she had been obedient enough, cooperative enough, and had given Julian enough face. But for some reason, after she accepted the necklace, Julian's anger flared even higher. "Willow, you're being completely unreasonable." With that, he slammed the door and left. She refused the necklace, he got angry. She accepted the necklace, he still got angry. Willow understood then. It had nothing to do with accepting the necklace or not. No matter what she did, he would never be satisfied. The favored one acts without fear, while the unloved one is always in the wrong. The birthday cake from Aunt Victoria was huge, but no one ate it with Willow. Not wanting to waste her aunt's kindness, she forced herself to eat the entire 5-layer cake alone. By the end, she felt painfully full and ended up vomiting in the bathroom for a long time. How ridiculous. She slumped onto the bathroom floor, tears streaming silently as she laughed without a sound. When she was little, they had no money. There were no birthday cakes. She could only stand outside, peering through the glass at the cakes in the shop window. Now, she finally had more cake than she could eat, yet it made her stomach ache, made her want to throw up. Some things, if you can't have them when you want them, lose their meaning even if you get them later. In the evening, Willow gathered her things and moved out of the master bedroom. The original white moonlight was back. As the stand-in, she needed to be self-aware and stop sharing a room with Julian, lest the past flame see and become upset. As she was moving her things, Isabel happened to come out of the room next door. She was wearing a sexy little camisole, so short it barely covered anything, revealing alluring shoulders above and long, slender legs below. Willow, don't misunderstand. Jules isn't avoiding the master bedroom because of you. He's just still angry, Isabel said softly, her voice gentle. Don't worry, we didn't do anything. We were just playing poker. Willow smiled. You don't need to explain to me. It wouldn't matter even if they had. The divorce papers were already drafted. Tomorrow, she would find an opportunity to get Julian to sign them. Willow, you really have misunderstood. Isabel bit her lip, looking aggrieved. Jules and I. Before Isabel could continue her excuses, Willow interrupted her with a smile. I know. You and Julian grew up together, childhood sweethearts, very close. Now that you're finally back after so many years apart, you two must have a lot to catch up on. So please, catch up properly. I won't disturb you. After saying this, Willow turned and left, leaving Isabel standing there, staring thoughtfully after Willow for a long time. Chapter 4, Julian spent the entire night in Isabel Montgomery's room. Willow hadn't actually paid close attention. It was Mrs. Davies, the housekeeper, who pulled her into the back garden early in the morning and mysteriously relayed this important intelligence. Ma'am, you need to be more careful, Mrs. Davies said worriedly. That hussy, Miss Montgomery, she's clearly here to seduce the young master. You didn't see the clothes she was wearing last night. Oh dear, I couldn't even bear to look. Willow smiled faintly. You're overthinking it. Miss Montgomery and Julian grew up together. Julian values her greatly. You mustn't speak ill of Miss Montgomery again. Julian will be unhappy if he hears. Mrs. Davies froze, looking at Willow with a strange expression before hesitantly asking, Ma'am, what's wrong with you? Nothing's wrong, Willow said with a smile. I'm perfectly fine. The smile was like a mask welded to her face. She would keep smiling, she wouldn't cry anymore. Know something's very wrong with you today, Mrs. Davies insisted confidently. Before, you always called the young master affectionately Jules. But now, you're calling him by his full name, Julian Fairchild. Willow lowered her thick lashes, saying nothing. Actually, when she first got together with Julian, she hadn't called him Jules either. She had always called him Julian or followed his friends in calling him Jules. It was later, the first time they slept together, Julian had pinned her to the bed, blindfolded her with a black cloth, and then, while moving forcefully, pulled her hair, demanding she call him Jules. She had always thought Jules was their term of endearment, something only she could call him. She had secretly cherished that sweetness for a long time, until yesterday, when she heard Isabel call Julian Jules. Only then did it dawn on her. No wonder he had blindfolded her that night, because her eyes were the least like Isabel Montgomery's, but her voice was similar. So he made her call him Jules over and over until she passed out. Mrs. Davies, the most important thing when working in a wealthy household like this is to do more work and talk less. Willow patted Mrs. Davies' shoulder, gently reminding her, from now on, don't say bad things about Miss Montgomery. She was leaving soon. Isabel would take her place as the mistress of the house. If Mrs. Davies offended Isabel, she would surely face consequences later. After cautioning Mrs. Davies, Willow went upstairs, retrieved the divorce agreement, and headed to Julian's study. Julian was busy with work. Seeing Willow enter, he snorted coldly. Realized you were wrong? Yes, Willow said flatly. If he said she was wrong, then let her be wrong. It was only for a few more days. She couldn't be bothered to argue with him. Wouldn't it have been fine if you'd figured it out sooner? Why make such a fuss? Julian said irritably. With a cold face, he took a small, exquisitely crafted gift box from the drawer and tossed it to Willow. A belated birthday gift for you. Open it and see. Willow wanted to say it wasn't necessary, but instinct told her Julian would get angry again if she did. She still needed him to sign the divorce papers. It was best not to provoke him now. So she silently accepted the gift without a word. Just then, Julian's phone rang. Willow inadvertently glanced at the screen. It was Isabel calling him. Julian glanced at Willow, then took out a pair of earbuds from the drawer and put them on. He pressed the answer button, and a smile immediately appeared in his cold eyes. His tone softened too, unlike the constant coldness he showed her. Willow handed over the divorce agreement. "Sign this, please." Julian signed it without even looking. Then he continued smiling and chatting happily with Isabel on the phone. Willow couldn't help but frown, hesitating. "Aren't you going to look at it?" "No need," Julian said impatiently. "Isn't it just about arranging for foreign specialists for your mother's treatment? You handle it. If there are any documents I need to sign, give them directly to Mr. Wallace, and he'll forward them to me. Don't keep calling me when there's nothing important. Do you know your phone bombardment last time made me miss several important calls?" Chapter 5. Willow's mother had passed away a week ago. Her mother had late-stage brain cancer. Despite Julian arranging for her to be admitted to the best hospital in the country, her condition deteriorated day by day. Her periods of lucidity grew shorter, the times she was confused longer. Most of the time, she didn't even recognize Willow. The attending doctor said they couldn't delay any longer. Surgery was necessary, or her mother might not survive the week. Willow didn't know what to do. She called Julian, wanting his opinion. She called 3 times in a row, each call rejected. The 4th time, he finally answered, only to chew her out. "Why are you calling for no reason?" He was busy. Don't cause trouble. The attending doctor knew Willow was the young mistress of the Fairchild family. So he suggested Julian step in and invite foreign experts for a medical consultation with the local specialists. This would increase the chances of the surgery's success. Willow thanked the doctor, then sat in the hospital corridor, phone in hand, counting the minutes and seconds, finally waiting until 6 in the evening. This was Julian's usual time to get off work. She mustered her courage and called Julian again. He didn't answer. She thought he must be working late. It was okay, she could wait longer. This time she waited longer, calling at midnight, but the call wouldn't go through. It took Willow a moment to realize, belatedly, that Julian had blocked her number. For the entire following week, Julian didn't come home. Calls wouldn't connect, messages went unanswered. Her mother, just like that, was delayed past the optimal time for surgery. Was Julian really that busy? So busy that, during the week he had blocked her, he still had time to pick out return gifts for Isabel Montgomery to order her a birthday cake. She couldn't let herself think further down that path. Willow closed her eyes, pressed down on her trembling hand, then took the divorce agreement and turned to leave the study. At noon, Mrs. Davies prepared a table full of delicious dishes. But Jessica Fairchild, who had come over to freeload, started finding fault before even sitting down. "Willow Ashton, didn't you used to do the cooking? Why aren't you cooking today?" Jessica deliberately provoked. "Is it because Isabel is staying here now? You think you're too high and mighty to cook for her?" Hearing this, Julian's face visibly darkened. He looked at Willow with icy eyes, waiting for her answer. How ironic, she thought. As his wife, she didn't even have the right to refuse to cook for his past flame. "The dishes I'm good at are mostly spicy," Willow said, looking down. "Miss Montgomery prefers milder flavors. I was afraid she wouldn't be used to it." "Then couldn't you just not add chili?" Jessica was still dissatisfied. "Jessie, don't be like that. Willow is your sister-in-law, you should respect her." Isabel intervened to smooth things over. "Besides, I think Mrs. Davies' cooking is delicious too." Halfway through her sentence, Isabel suddenly frowned, clutched her stomach, and grimaced in pain. "Belle, what's wrong?" Julian startled, rushing over immediately to support Isabel. "Jules, my stomach hurts so much." Isabel's face turned deathly pale. She slumped weakly into Julian's arms, looking fragile and beautiful. Julian frowned. "Why would your stomach suddenly hurt like this?" Meanwhile, Jessica looked as if she'd had a sudden realization. She pointed at Willow. "Ah, I know, no wonder you refused to cook. It's because you poisoned Isabel's food. You have a guilty conscience, so you deliberately stayed out of the kitchen all day." Chapter 6. The accusation came out of nowhere. Willow felt helpless. "Since I haven't been in the kitchen all day, how could I have had the opportunity to poison Miss Montgomery's food? Just because you didn't go into the kitchen doesn't mean you couldn't bribe someone in the kitchen to poison Isabel," Jessica sneered. "This morning when I came over, I happened to see you and Mrs. Davies sneaking around in the garden. Who knows what you were plotting? Now that I think about it, you must have been discussing how to poison Isabel back then, right?" Good heavens, Miss Fairchild, you can't just say things like that, Mrs. Davies protested her innocence. I'm just a housekeeper. How would I dare to poison anyone? Then, what were you and Willow whispering about so furtively in the garden this morning? Jessica pressed relentlessly. Mrs. Davies glanced secretly at Willow, unsure what to say. With Julian and Isabel both present, she couldn't possibly repeat their morning conversation in front of the real mistress, could she? Can't answer, huh? You two are definitely up to something, Jessica declared triumphantly. Isabel, do you want me to call the police for you? Poisoning food, that's practically attempted murder, upon hearing the word police. Isabel's expression instantly became more pained. She grasped Julian's hand, crying out, Jules, it hurts so much, am I going to die? I'm so scared. Seeing Isabel in such agony, Julian couldn't care less about anything else. He swept Isabel into his arms and rushed towards the door. Get the car ready to the hospital, immediately. Before leaving, he shot a glare at Willow. I'll deal with you when I get back, Mrs. Davies was terrified. A woman in her 50s, she actually started crying from distress. Young mistress, what do we do? I didn't poison Miss Montgomery, I really didn't. I'm just here to work, earn some money for retirement. Why would I commit a crime? Willow knew the poisoner certainly wasn't Mrs. Davies. But Mrs. Davies was the one who cooked. If she didn't point the finger at someone else, Julian wouldn't let her off. When Julian comes back, if he questions you, just say I told you to do it, Willow said calmly. It's okay, don't be afraid. Push all the blame onto me. How can that be right? Mrs. Davies became anxious. Young mistress, we didn't do anything, we can't admit to it, Willow smiled bitterly. She had understood these past few days. Admitting it or not didn't matter. Julian had already decided she was responsible. Whether she confessed or denied it, the outcome would be the same. Since that was the case, it was better to sacrifice one to save the other, help Mrs. Davies clear her name, and prevent an ordinary person from being implicated. Do as I say? Willow's tone was uncharacteristically firm. Don't worry, I have my own arrangements. It will be fine. After a whole night spent rushing around at the hospital, Julian finally drove Isabel back home around dawn. The moment he returned, he started the interrogation. Willow Ashton, you're quite clever, aren't you? Knowing Belle is allergic to peanuts, you ground them into powder and sprinkled it into her porridge. Do you realize, if I hadn't gotten Belle to the hospital in time today, she could have died? Mrs. Davies has confessed. She said you instructed her to do it. Do you have anything else to say? I'll give you a chance. Speak. Why did you do this? Willow looked up, glancing coolly at Isabel. Isabel's face was pale. Lying on the bed, she looked frail. Willow, I don't believe you would harm me. You must have had your reasons, right? Willow smiled. She looked directly into Isabel's eyes and spoke calmly. Thank you for your trust. I indeed did not harm you, and I don't know why Mrs. Davies would frame me. Why don't we call the police? Let the police come and investigate thoroughly. My words might not be trustworthy, but the results of a police investigation surely will be. Chapter 7. After Willow suggested calling the police, the reactions of both Isabel and Julian were quite interesting. Isabel's gaze flickered away, while Julian erupted in anger. Willow Ashton, do you think I wouldn't dare call the police because I can't bear to part with you? No, Julian, I know you can bear it, Willow answered silently in her heart. But your precious past flame won't let you call the police. Because she knows her petty tricks might fool you, but they won't fool the police. What if the police find out she sprinkled the peanut powder herself? Wouldn't that be awkward? Sure enough, the next second, Willow heard Isabel speak in a delicate, pleading tone. Jules, don't be like this. Willow is your wife, after all. You absolutely cannot send her to prison because of me. Besides, I'm fine now, aren't I? And even taking a step back, even if you don't consider Willow, you have to consider the Fairchild family. The young mistress of the Fairchild family going to prison. If word got out, Fairchild Corporation's stock would definitely be affected. Persuaded by Isabel, Julian finally managed to suppress his anger and didn't call the police. But while the police might not be called, punishment was necessary. Willow Ashton, Belle has a kind heart and doesn't want to press charges against you, but that doesn't mean you won't pay any price. Julian gripped Willow's neck, spitting out each word as if coated in poison. The pain Belle endured tonight, you must endure it all over again. Dr. Jennings, bring the medicine you prepared. Julian forced Willow's chin up and poured an unknown liquid down her throat. The potion quickly took effect. Willow broke out in a cold sweat from the pain, clutching her stomach, writhing and convulsing on the floor. Several times, the pain was so intense she nearly fainted. Meanwhile, Julian stood nearby, looking down condescendingly, watching Willow writhe in agony on the floor without even frowning. "Hurts, doesn't it? When Belle drank the porridge you poisoned, she was in just as much pain," Julian said coldly. "Remember this pain well. Only by remembering the hurt can you change." Willow bit down hard on the back of her hand, breaking the skin, drawing blood, but she didn't loosen her grip, nor did she cry out in pain. "Julian, rest assured, I will remember this pain, just as you said. This is what loving you feels like. This is the consequence of loving you. I remember it clearly now. I won't make the same mistake again." Willow was in pain for an entire day. The effects of the drug only subsided late at night. Her whole body was drenched in cold sweat, her face deathly pale, almost bloodless. Just then, Aunt Victoria called. Willow forced herself to gather some strength and answered, "Hello, Willow, it's me." Her aunt's gentle laughter came through the phone. "I've handled all the procedures for you to come abroad. When are you planning to come? I'll buy your plane ticket." Lying on the floor, Willow's eyelashes trembled slightly. She wanted to leave at dawn. She couldn't stand being here a minute longer. But after twisting and turning in pain all day, she felt like a puppet drained of life, without a shred of strength, even struggling to lift a finger. In this state, she probably couldn't make it to the airport. Besides, if Aunt Victoria saw her like this upon arrival, she would surely be heartbroken. So Willow said, "The night after tomorrow, perhaps. I've sorted out the divorce procedures here. I just need to pack, and then I can leave." "All right, then I'll buy you a ticket for 7 p.m. the night after tomorrow. Bring your ID and passport. You can pick up the ticket directly at the airport using them." Chapter 8. After lying in bed for a day and a night, Willow finally regained some energy. Today was the day she would leave. Her flight was at 7 p.m. Once she boarded the plane, she would never come back. As dawn broke, Willow got up. She packed her belongings and donated everything to a local charity shelter. Among the donated items were all the gifts Julian had given her over the years: clothes, bags, jewelry. Even the wedding ring he gave her, she didn't keep. Valuable items were donated to benefit society. Worthless ones were burned in a fire. Since she was starting anew, she had to leave cleanly. She wouldn't take anything of his with her. After sorting everything out, it was already afternoon. Willow glanced at her phone. It was 3 p.m. 4 more hours until her plane took off. Just as Willow was thinking about changing clothes to go to the airport, Jessica Fairchild suddenly blocked her path. "Willow Ashton, what are you still doing standing here? Let's go, hurry up and get your makeup done with me." "Makeup?" Willow frowned slightly. "Why?" "Stop pretending," Jessica said irritably. "Isn't today your and my brother's wedding anniversary? My brother said that when you married him back then, because my parents didn't approve, you didn't have a wedding ceremony, just got the certificate. He's always felt guilty about it. And recently, because of Isabel, he really has neglected you somewhat. So he wants to use your 5th wedding anniversary to hold a makeup wedding ceremony for you." Fake. It must be fake, Willow thought. This is definitely a trap. She and Julian had been married for 5 years. He had never once mentioned holding a makeup wedding for her. How could he possibly decide to do it today, after Isabel's return? "What, you don't believe me?" Jessica glanced at Willow, her eyes filled with contempt. "Then call my brother and ask him. You think I wanted to get involved in this mess? If my brother hadn't forced me, I couldn't be bothered with you." Willow naturally didn't believe her, nor did she want to call Julian. Seeing her stand there like a wooden statue, Jessica lost patience. She dialed Julian's number directly and threw the phone at Willow. "Willow, I already know about your mother. You've been wronged during this time. Let me make it up to you properly today." Fake, definitely fake. Julian wouldn't speak to her in such a gentle tone. "Everything's arranged. Just go with Jessie to change. We'll see each other at the wedding." Fake, it's all fake. Willow's body began to tremble uncontrollably. What on earth is Julian trying to do? Why is he holding a makeup wedding for her? What is his motive? Even though she was certain it was all fake. Even though she knew clearly she was the unloved one. Yet, the moment she put on the wedding dress Julian had custom made for her, Willow couldn't help but waver. People are like that. Even knowing it's impossible, they can't help but hope. What if this time it's real? She had been unlucky for so long. Surely it was her turn to win just once. Might as well go and see, Willow thought. There's still time anyway. With the mindset of a gambler, she went to attend a wedding with odds of 1 in 10,000. Her makeup was done by 4 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, she arrived at the wedding venue. Willow pushed open the doors to the banquet hall, and a bucket of cold water rained down from above. Ha 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 ha! Laughter erupted around her. Behind her, Jessica was laughing so hard tears streamed down her face. Willow Ashton, you idiot, you didn't actually think my brother was going to hold a makeup wedding for you, did you? Ha 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 ha! You fool, today is Isabel's birthday. This isn't the wedding banquet you dreamed of. It's Isabel's birthday party. There were many people in the banquet hall, likely all there to celebrate Isabel's birthday. Isabel was there too, also wearing a wedding dress, identical in style to the one Willow wore. Except hers wasn't soaked, it remained puffy and beautiful. This wedding dress was actually custom made by my brother for Isabel. Beautiful, isn't it? My brother plans to propose to Isabel today. Willow Ashton, my brother and Isabel are the true love story. You're just a sideshow clown in their legendary romance. If you know what's good for you, just get lost yourself. It'll be even more humiliating if my brother has to kick you out. Willow reached up and touched her face, only then realizing she was crying. Why cry? Hadn't she already guessed it was fake? Willow, you really are a fool. You've been tricked by fate so many times, how could you fall for it again? Even though you guessed it was fake, you still had to come. What were you trying to prove? How pathetic you are. Willow turned and fled, escaping the suffocating place as fast as she could. She hailed a taxi, rushed to the airport at top speed, then burst into the airport restroom and began tearing at the wedding dress. Take it off, take it off, take it all off, this dress is so tight, so suffocating. Help me, help me, help me, she couldn't stand it anymore. This suffocating everything was crushing the breath out of her. She had to break free from this damned wedding dress immediately. Then leave this place, leave forever, and never look back. Finally, under Willow's frantic tearing, the wedding dress fell apart. Willow threw the white gown onto the dirty floor of the airport restroom, then took a black slip dress from her bag and changed into it. Her phone vibrated wildly. Willow pulled it out and realized Julian had called her many times. It seemed he had been calling her constantly since she got into the taxi, maybe over 30 calls. But she had been in a state of breakdown and hadn't noticed. The phone was still vibrating crazily. Julian was still calling. Willow removed the SIM card, snapped it in half, and threw it away. It was almost 7 o'clock. She collected her ticket, passed through security, and boarded the plane smoothly. Just before the plane took off, she deleted all her social media accounts. A flight attendant came over to remind her to turn off her phone. She smiled and nodded. The phone screen went black, and the plane took off at the same moment. Willow leaned back in her seat and slowly closed her eyes. Julian Fairchild, I won't say goodbye, because I hope we never meet again. Chapter 9. After Willow fled the banquet hall in tears, Julian walked in, holding a large bouquet of roses. Jessie, why are you here alone? Where's your sister-in-law? Julian asked, puzzled. Didn't I ask you to take her to change into her wedding dress? Jessica felt a pang of guilt. She averted her gaze, unable to meet Julian's eyes, but her words remained sharp. Willow Ashton left. She resented you for only caring about Isabel recently and completely ignoring her, so she ran off in a huff. Hearing this, Julian frowned involuntarily. Off. Impossible with Willow's personality, she would never do something like running away from a wedding. He knew Willow well. She was as meek as a lamb. She never contradicted anything he said, never opposed any decision he made. Sometimes, even when he felt he had gone too far himself, she would still silently tolerate and understand him, responding gently. Like 2 days ago, when he forced her to drink the potion that caused agonizing stomach pain. He had actually regretted it afterwards, feeling he had gone overboard. But he was also extremely proud. Even knowing he was wrong, he couldn't bring himself to apologize to Willow. That's why, on their 5th wedding anniversary today, he arranged this makeup wedding for Willow as a form of compensation. Willow is sweet-natured and kind-hearted. She would never run away from a wedding without reason. Julian's face turned cold. He looked at Jessica with sharp eyes, questioning her with intense pressure. Jessica Fairchild, what really happened? Tell me the truth. Jessica immediately lost her nerve, looking pleadingly towards Isabel. Seeing this, Isabel slowly walked over, took Julian's hand, and frowning prettily pleaded softly, "Jules, today is my birthday. Can you please focus on celebrating with me and not worry about other things?" Isabel was still wearing the white, puffy wedding dress. Julian recognized it instantly. It was the dress he had ordered for Willow. "How did this dress end up on you?" Julian exclaimed. "This is clearly the dress I ordered for Willow." Hearing this, Isabel immediately looked aggrieved. "Jules, what are you talking about? Didn't you order this dress for me?" "Ha," Julian sneered. "Isabel Montgomery, don't tell me you're actually foolish enough to still think, even now, that I'm hung up on you, a divorced society cast off." Isabel's face instantly turned deathly pale. As if unable to believe what she was hearing, she asked tremblingly, "Jules, what are you saying? I don't understand." "Don't understand? Then let me explain it to you, word by word." Julian twisted his lips, his expression less a smile and more a snarl. "Isabel Montgomery, you're nothing now but washed-up goods someone else discarded. Do you think you're still qualified to be with me? Don't make me laugh, you're not worthy." The blow came so suddenly that Isabel couldn't process it. Her face pale, she shook her head continuously, stumbling backward. "No, impossible. You still love me. I called you once, and you immediately rushed to the airport to pick me up. You even brought me to your home to stay. To vent my anger, you even forced Willow Ashton to drink that poison that causes unbearable stomach pain. You love me, you must love me. If you didn't love me, why would you do all this?" "Why?" Chapter 10, Isabel was hysterical, on the verge of a complete breakdown, but Julian just gave a cold laugh. He stood tall, like an arrogant emperor, glancing disdainfully at Isabel from the corner of his eye. "Still don't get it. I did all this just to get revenge on you. I used to love you so much. I was willing to give up everything for you. But what about you? You dumped me without hesitation for some useless artist abroad and even blocked all my contact information. Do you know how I survived the period after you broke up with me? Do you know how much pain I was in?" At this moment, Julian's eyes held not a shred of love for Isabel, only burgeoning hatred. "From that moment on, I swore that I would repay the pain I felt tenfold. And when I found out how miserable your marriage was, you can't imagine how happy I was. I wanted nothing more than to buy a plane ticket immediately, fly to you, stand in front of you, and say, 'Isabel Montgomery, you deserved it.' But I held back. Because simple marital unhappiness couldn't quell my anger. Besides, I wasn't the cause of your marital misery. No matter how much pain you were in, I wouldn't feel any sense of accomplishment from revenge. So, I swooped in when you were at your lowest, most helpless. On the surface, I supported you, encouraged you, loved you unconditionally, just to give you the courage to divorce your useless husband." Isabel's eyes widened in disbelief as she looked at Julian. "So all of this was just to get revenge on me?" "That's right," Julian admitted without hesitation. "Originally, my plan was to create some illusions, make you mistakenly believe I was desperately in love with you. Then, on your birthday, have Jessie take you to try on wedding dresses, making you think I would propose to you today. But in reality, today's wedding was the one I was holding for Willow. Willow was supposed to be the star tonight. Actually, Julian had ordered 2 wedding dresses made. Initially, the 2 dresses were identical. But after they were made, his assistant reminded him, 'Mr. Fairchild, no woman wants to wear the exact same wedding dress as someone else at her own wedding. If you want a surprise, Mrs. Fairchild, it's best not to order 2 identical dresses. A unique wedding dress will make the bride feel special on her wedding day.' Julian thought the assistant made a good point, so he changed his mind at the last minute and had the designer randomly design a different dress for Isabel. According to his plan, he was supposed to humiliate Isabel thoroughly at this wedding, then turn around, take Willow's hand, and present her with an incredibly grand wedding ceremony. Isabel could only watch from the sidelines, consumed by envy, jealousy, and hatred, regretting for the rest of her life that she hadn't chosen him back then. But why, when he walked into the hall holding the flowers, was his bride missing? And why was the dress, meant for his bride, now being worn by Isabel? "Jessica Fairchild," Julian turned his head, glaring furiously at Jessica. "What exactly happened here? You'd better give me a reasonable explanation." Jessica was instantly terrified and lost. She never imagined that the person her brother truly loved was actually Willow Ashton, so all her efforts throughout the day had backfired spectacularly. Chapter 11. Julian hadn't told Jessica Fairchild about his revenge plan. He had merely instructed Jessica to take Isabel Montgomery to try on wedding dresses in the morning, and then later in the afternoon, instructed her to take Willow Ashton to try on her wedding dress. So Jessica naturally assumed that the talk about the 5th wedding anniversary, the makeup wedding for Willow, it was all fake. Her dear brother must have intended to propose to Isabel in front of everyone on her birthday. That's why he had called her early in the morning, urging her to take Isabel dress shopping. As for Willow, her brother probably wanted to take the opportunity to humiliate her, make her retreat in shame, and leave on her own. With this assumption, Jessica took matters into her own hands, arranging for a bucket of cold water to be placed above the banquet hall door, intending to prank Willow beforehand. As for the wedding dresses, that too was a result of Jessica's misguided meddling. The dress Willow was meant to wear was clearly much more expensive than the one Isabel had tried on in the morning. So Jessica naturally assumed the bridal shop had mixed up the two dresses. Therefore, while the makeup artist was busy with Willow, Jessica stormed off to find the bridal shop owner, threw a massive tantrum, and demanded to know why the owner had mixed up the two dresses. Since Julian had initially ordered 2 identical dresses, the bridal shop owner was momentarily uncertain. Had Mr. Fairchild changed his mind again at the last minute and decided he wanted 2 identical dresses after all? Fortunately, when the dresses were originally made, 2 copies of the dress intended for Willow had indeed been produced. So the bridal shop owner quickly brought out the other identical dress. Jessica thought that wearing an identical dress would be an even bigger blow to Willow, the stand-in. So her anger quickly subsided, and she instructed the bridal shop to send the dress to Isabel as quickly as possible. After doing all this, not only did Jessica fail to realize something was wrong, she even thought smugly to herself, "Good thing I'm smart and noticed the dress mix-up." Otherwise, at the wedding, Isabel, the star, would be wearing an ordinary dress, while the knockoff Willow would be wearing the one adorned with 999 real diamonds. How would that look, right? Hee, I completed my task so brilliantly. When my brother sees me, he'll definitely praise me heavily. Maybe he'll even gift me some expensive and beautiful diamond jewelry. Jessica had been feeling smug, waiting for Julian's praise. She never expected that instead of praise, she would face Julian's towering rage. "Jessica Fairchild, don't make me ask a third time. What exactly did you do to Willow?" Julian's gaze was as sharp as a knife. He demanded, word by word, "Where did she go?" Chapter 12. I. Jessica naturally didn't dare tell the truth. Head bowed, she racked her brain for a lie, but the next second she heard Julian threaten her in a cold tone, "You'd better tell the truth. Don't force me to check the security footage." That did it. Jessica became completely honest. After all, once the footage was reviewed, everything she had done would be laid bare before Julian. If she confessed herself, she could omit some details, slightly embellish her own actions. So Jessica obediently recounted what had happened earlier. "Brother, I don't know who was so malicious as to put a bucket of cold water over the door. When sister-in-law pushed the door open, she got soaked, and then everyone else laughed mercilessly at her. Sister-in-law couldn't take it and just ran off. I tried to stop her, but I couldn't." Julian was furious. He shot Jessica a vicious glare. "I'll deal with you after I find Willow." With that, Julian pulled out his phone and dialed Willow's number. He had assumed that just one call, perhaps a few coaxing words, and she would return to his side, docile and obedient as always. But to his disbelief, he called several times in a row and Willow didn't answer. "What's going on? Willow isn't answering my calls." Julian's brow furrowed tightly. Could it be she doesn't have her phone? That makes sense. How could she carry a phone in a wedding dress? Willow would never ignore his calls. Her phone must not be with her. That's why his calls went unanswered. Even now, Julian couldn't fathom that he might actually lose Willow. In his eyes, Willow was like a little pet, someone to summon and dismiss at will. Pets couldn't leave their owners. Their eyes and hearts held only their master. They loved their owners wholeheartedly, and no matter how cruelly their owners treated them, they wouldn't leave. Willow probably hasn't gone far. She must be nearby. After a moment's thought, Julian calmly issued orders, Mr. Thompson, get the hotel manager over here. Have him gather everyone in the hotel and search outside for Willow. You have 1 hour. You must bring Willow back to me safely. Otherwise, face the consequences." Hearing this, Mr. Thompson quickly gathered everyone and began searching everywhere for Willow. Jessica also volunteered to go out with Mr. Thompson to help search, but she wasn't helping out of concern for Willow. She was afraid that when Willow returned, she would complain to Julian about her, so she decided to strike first. She had to find Willow immediately, threaten her harshly, and make her keep her mouth shut, not say anything incriminating. However, an hour passed, and Mr. Thompson came back empty-handed. Julian flew into a rage, but it was futile. As dusk approached and Willow was still missing, Julian had no choice but to gather even more people to search for her. Even the friends and relatives who had come to attend his and Willow's wedding were mobilized to look for her. Julian himself wasn't idle either. While searching with the main group, he constantly sent messages to Willow. "Willow, where on earth are you? Reply immediately when you see this, Willow. I know you've been wronged a lot recently, but please believe me, there's a reason for everything. Call me back, I'll explain everything slowly. Willow, I stopped liking Isabel Montgomery a long time ago. This was all an act, do you understand? It was an act, not real." Initially, Julian tried coaxing Willow gently. But after sending several messages without any response, his patience began to wear thin. "Willow Ashton, don't push your luck. I know you're nearby. Are you enjoying watching me make such a fuss looking for you? I'm giving you 1 hour. Come see me at the banquet hall immediately. If you arrive at the banquet hall within the hour, our wedding will proceed as planned, and I can overlook what you did today. But if you still haven't appeared within the hour, then you can forget about ever setting foot in the Fairchild house again for the rest of your life." Chapter 13. After sending the last, threatening message, Julian felt confident. This would surely work. Willow loved him so much. After reading the message, she would definitely rush back to the banquet hall as fast as possible. Then, as usual, head lowered, eyes red, she would timidly apologize and beg for his forgiveness. Thinking this, Julian finally felt a bit more at ease. He stopped searching urgently for Willow and left everyone else behind, strolling leisurely back to the banquet hall. At this point, everyone else was outside searching for Willow, leaving only Isabel Montgomery alone in the hall. Seeing Isabel still there, Julian sneered contemptuously. "You haven't scrammed yet. What, are you planning to stay for my wedding with Willow?" Hearing this, Isabel suddenly burst into laughter. Perhaps due to the immense shock, she laughed manically while tears streamed down her face. "Ha ha 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 ha, Julian Fairchild, don't tell me you actually think Willow Ashton is coming back. Of course Willow will come back." Julian raised the corners of his lips, his smile full of confidence. "Willow loves me more than anyone. No matter what I do, she will unconditionally tolerate me. She's the best woman in the world." Hearing Julian's words, Isabel laughed even more wildly. "Ha ha ha ha, Julian Fairchild, and you had the nerve to call me foolish. You're clearly the biggest fool in the world. No woman, no matter how magnanimous, would tolerate her husband bringing another woman into their home, especially when that woman is his first love. Why was Willow Ashton so tolerant? Why didn't she care at all when I moved into your house? Ha 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 ha, of course, it's because she doesn't love you anymore. It's because she doesn't love you that she doesn't care. It's because she doesn't love you that she could endure it." Julian, who had been brimming with confidence just moments ago, instantly darkened. He strode towards Isabel, reached out, and grabbed her by the neck. "Bitch, shut up. Don't pretend you know Willow so well. A floozy like you wouldn't understand what true love is. Willow and I lived together for so many years. Do you think I wouldn't know if she loves me or not?" Julian's grip was incredibly strong. Choked like this, Isabel's face quickly turned crimson. She could barely breathe, yet she still laughed defiantly. "Ha ha ha. Julian Fairchild, since you know Willow Ashton so well, let me ask you. Willow has been missing for so long. Do you know where she's hiding? Do you know where she goes when she's upset? Do you know what she likes to eat? Do you know her hobbies and interests?" This barrage of questions completely stumped Julian. He couldn't answer a single one. Willow knew all his preferences. She knew what he liked to eat, knew his favorite places, what time he slept and woke up, which side of the bed he preferred, his little bedtime habits. Willow knew everything. But he knew nothing about Willow. He didn't even know where she went when she was heartbroken. Ha 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 ha, is this what you call true love? How utterly laughable, Isabel spat fiercely in Julian's face. I really admire Willow Ashton. How did she tolerate you for so many years? If I were her, I would have run away long ago. Shut up, Julian, enraged and humiliated, slapped Isabel across the face. The slap was vicious. Isabel crumpled to the ground, a bright red handprint quickly appearing on her cheek, but she still laughed madly. Ha 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 ha, Julian Fairchild, Willow Ashton will absolutely not come back, just wait here, you can wait a lifetime. She won't come back. Chapter 14. Julian felt like his lungs would explode. Having maintained a gentlemanly demeanor his entire life, never raising a hand to a woman, he lost control for the first time ever. Not only did he slap Isabel, but he proceeded to beat her violently. Shut up, you bitch, don't you dare defile Willow with your filthy mouth. Willow will definitely come back. Willow loves me. Willow is the person who loves me most in this world. You know nothing, you're just a common tramp. What the hell do you know about love? Julian raged impotently, grabbing Isabel's head and repeatedly slamming it against the wall. Soon, Isabel was bleeding profusely from her head. Luckily, Mr. Thompson returned temporarily and witnessed the scene. He quickly intervened and stopped Julian. Otherwise, Isabel's life might have been in danger. Willow hadn't been found yet, and now Isabel was beaten half to death. Mr. Thompson felt utterly exhausted. This job was impossible, like eating shit. Subsequently, Isabel was taken away by ambulance, while Julian sat slumped by the entrance of the banquet hall, looking lost. He stared at the cracked luxury watch on his wrist, muttering to himself, "Hours. It's already been 2 hours, why hasn't Willow come back yet? Didn't I tell you to come back to me within an hour? Why aren't you listening to me anymore?" Willow always used to listen to him. But why, at this moment when he needed her most, did she suddenly stop listening? Right, Willow didn't have her phone. It must be because Willow didn't have her phone, so she didn't see the messages I sent her. Wait a little longer. Just a little longer. Willow will definitely come back. She will definitely come back. Watching Julian, who seemed almost possessed, Mr. Thompson sighed helplessly. Mr. Fairchild, I just found some information related to Mrs. Fairchild, Mr. Thompson said gravely. Hearing this, Julian immediately looked up. He grabbed Mr. Thompson's arm and asked with immense excitement, "Willow, you found Willow?" Mr. Thompson gave an awkward smile. "No, but I investigated and found out that Mrs. Fairchild donated all her belongings to the Sunshine Charity House this morning. Among the items she donated to the Sunshine Charity House was even the engagement ring you gave her." Julian froze instantly. In that moment, he seemed to lose all vitality. He could barely comprehend what Mr. Thompson was saying. What did you say?" After a long pause, Julian finally regained a sliver of rationality. He spoke with great difficulty. "What do you mean Willow donated all her things to the Sunshine Charity House?" Mr. Thompson didn't know how to answer and could only lower his head in silence. "I'm asking you a question," Julian suddenly flared up. He grabbed Mr. Thompson by the collar and yelled uncontrollably, "Speak, why would Willow donate all her things to the charity? Who allowed her to donate them? Why didn't you stop her? You bunch of incompetents, what use are you to me? Get out, go find Willow for me. If you can't find her, then none of you need to come back either." Julian was like a madman who had lost his mind, screaming hysterically. His confidence, his determination, his pride, all vanished in that instant. At this moment, he finally realized, profoundly and clearly, that he had lost Willow. Chapter 15. For the next few months, Julian Fairchild frantically searched for Willow Ashton. He went to Willow's hometown, met her former teachers, classmates, and neighbors. He visited everyone who knew Willow, hoping to glean some clue about her whereabouts from their words. Through continuous visits and searching, he finally began to understand Willow, piece by piece. He learned that Willow grew up in a single-parent family. Her father abandoned her when she was very young. This led her to develop a deep lack of security from an early age. And due to the lack of love, she gradually developed a people-pleasing personality, always subconsciously trying to please everyone around her. He realized that her tolerance towards him was never out of love, but because life had been too hard. She had endured so much that she had grown accustomed to suffering in silence. However, although her life was filled with misfortune, she remained incredibly kind. After marrying him, she donated money to the charity shelter every month and even spent time volunteering there every week. The children at the shelter adored her. Sister Willow loves blue the most because it's the color of the sea. She says she loves the sea. It represents freedom and romance. During a visit to the shelter, one of the children, while drawing the sea, told Julian with a bright smile, "Mister, are you Sister Willow's friend? When is Sister Willow coming? I drew the sea, I want to give it to her." A wave of bitterness washed over Julian. Even the children at the shelter knew Willow loved the sea, loved blue, but he didn't, though he hated to admit it. Isabel Montgomery was right. He truly didn't understand love. In his search for Willow, Julian scoured every coastal area in the country, but still found nothing. As the search dragged on, Julian began to fear the worst. He couldn't stop thinking, could Willow no longer be alive? Otherwise, why, after searching for so long, was there still not a single clue? Moreover, before leaving, Willow had not only donated all her valuable possessions, but had also burned everything worthless. Things not fit for donation. Burned them completely clean, leaving nothing behind for him. At this thought, Julian clutched his chest as a heart-wrenching pain shot through him, making it almost impossible to breathe. "Willow, how could you be so cruel?" Julian forced a bitter smile. "You burned everything, didn't even leave a single strand of hair behind. Before, the house was filled with traces of you. Even when you weren't by my side, I could feel your presence. But now, he bit his lower lip hard, unable to utter the rest of the sentence. But now, there was nothing left. He couldn't even look at objects to remember her by. She had burned everything. In the house where they had lived together for 5 years, not a single item belonging to her could be found. "Willow, you are so heartless." Julian clutched his heart, murmuring to himself as his eyes reddened. "But no matter how heartless, how cruel you are, I can't bring myself to blame you. Because all of this I brought upon myself by now." Julian knew about the death of Willow's mother. He was also painfully aware of the despicable things he had done during the time Willow lost her only family member. He had brought Isabel Montgomery into their home. He had forced Willow to clean Isabel's room. To appease Isabel, he had forced Willow to drink that agonizing potion. His actions were worse than those of a beast. Ha 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 ha. Recalling his past monstrous deeds, Julian once again descended into madness. He laughed maniacally, letting tears stream down his face. "Julian Fairchild, you deserve this, you deserve this. Isabel Montgomery was right, you deserve this." Chapter 16. Unlike Julian, who was practically driving himself mad, Willow Ashton's life was peaceful and quiet. She had no idea Julian was frantically searching the world for her. She had snapped her phone's SIM card in half and thrown it away long ago. She had also deleted all her social media accounts on major platforms. So all those calls Julian made, all those messages he sent, she never received any of them. Of course, she didn't want to receive them either. The past felt like a terrifying nightmare. She had fought with all her might to escape it and certainly didn't want any connection to that past anymore. She left her familiar hometown, flew over 7,000 kilometers to a foreign country, all for a fresh start. To discard everything from before and begin anew. And among the things discarded, naturally, was Julian Fairchild. "Willow, I remember you studied art, right?" Aunt Victoria asked with a smile during dinner. "I've seen you sketching nearby recently, painting quite a few evocative landscape pieces. These paintings are truly outstanding. Your Uncle David, and I love them very much. Your Uncle David thinks it's such a pity for such brilliant paintings to just gather dust at home, so he wants to fund an art exhibition for you. What do you think? An art exhibition?" Willow's eyes widened. Though her expression was startled, the subtle sparkle in her eyes revealed her deep-seated anticipation for such an event. After all, for an artist, holding an exhibition is not only recognition of their abilities, but also an opportunity to showcase their work to the world. Ever since she started studying art, Willow had always dreamed of having her own solo exhibition one day. But hosting an exhibition costs a lot of money. Having grown up in a single-parent family with little money, Willow had developed a cautious nature since childhood. So, after the initial excitement, her brow furrowed prettily again. "Hosting an exhibition must cost a lot, right?" Willow asked worriedly. "I don't have a job right now, I'm not earning a penny. I already feel guilty enough living off you, letting Uncle David spend money on an exhibition for me." "What are you talking about?" Before Willow could finish, her aunt interrupted her. "If anyone should feel guilty, It's me. If I had contacted your mother earlier, maybe you and she wouldn't have suffered so much back home. Maybe your mother wouldn't have passed away so early." As she spoke, Aunt Victoria's eyes reddened. Willow's aunt was named Victoria Ashton, originally Lynn Jayati. Like Willow's mother, Eleanor Ashton Sr. Lynn 80, she was a daughter of the mountains. They were born into an extremely patriarchal family, their very names reflecting their parents' desperate longing for sons. Unlike her sister, who had a gentle personality and tended to submit meekly, the younger sister, Victoria then Jayati, was a headstrong girl from a young age. She was resilient as a weed. When her parents wanted her to drop out of school and marry, she refused vehemently, enduring countless beatings without bowing her head. Eventually, she ran away from home overnight, escaping the mountains. The night I ran away, my sister found me in the pouring rain. I initially thought she was there to drag me back. My heart shattered at that thought, but she wasn't. Aunt Victoria once recounted, tearfully, the story of her and her sister to Willow during a sleepless night. She found me in the heavy rain and gave me all the money she had on her. I remember it clearly, 5,033 yuan, all the money she had earned working for a year. My sister dropped out of school early to work, but every cent she earned had to be handed over to our blood-sucking father during the new year. If she was short even 100 yuan, she'd get beaten. But now my sister gave me all the money she had. After stuffing the money into my hands, she pushed me towards the station, saying, go far away and never come back." So I left. I changed my name. I hated the name Lin Jayati. Every time someone called me that, I felt like it wasn't my name, but a slap in the face. I changed my name to Lin Yi, self-chosen Chinese name signifying uniqueness, mapped to Victoria Ashton, then worked while studying. I seized every opportunity I could grasp. University entrance exams, studying abroad for graduate school, finding a job, co-founding a company with partners. I finally managed to leave the past firmly behind and started my own brand new life. Here, Aunt Victoria paused, took Willow's hand, and said with immense regret, "My only regret is not going back to find my sister. I always thought, once I achieved success, I would go back, bring her abroad to live a good life. But I never expected." Chapter 17, perhaps the most painful thing in the world is achieving success, only to find that the one person you wanted to repay most has already passed away, unable to wait for that day. Every time her sister was mentioned, Aunt Victoria's eyes would redden. Her sister's death left her with endless remorse and regret. Fortunately, although her sister was gone, she left behind a daughter. "When I was young, my parents favored boys. They only let my mediocre brother go to school, not me. I refused to accept it and insisted on going. They cut off my living expenses and refused to pay a cent of tuition, trying to force me to drop out," Aunt Victoria said, her eyes brimming with tears. Back then, it was my sister who secretly worked several extra part-time jobs each year to scrape together my living expenses and tuition. To me, my sister was like a mother. She raised me. My parents never raised me for a single day, but my sister did. So Willow, please don't ever feel like an outsider. Your aunt doesn't have children. From now on, you are my child. This is your home. Ask for whatever you want. Never mind just an art exhibition. Even if you wanted the stars from the sky, your aunt would pluck them down for you. Her aunt's words brought a rare warmth to Willow, who had craved love for so long. Her aunt had escaped the mountains back then and resolutely started a new life. She needed to learn from her aunt, become tougher, more confident, and face her new life with a completely new outlook. "Aunt Victoria, I want to hold the art exhibition." Willow looked up at her aunt, her gaze firmer than ever before. "But the money for the exhibition can't come from you and Uncle David. I'm an adult now. Even as family, I'd feel guilty sponging off you like this. Consider this money a loan from you and Uncle David. After the exhibition, once I've earned money, I'll pay you back." Hearing this, Aunt Victoria's beautiful eyes curved into a smile. "Now that sounds like my niece. Willow, your paintings are so beautiful, they're sure to sell well." Uncle David also praised Willow without reservation. "I have tremendous confidence in you. Go for it, you're going to become a truly remarkable artist." With the help of her aunt and uncle, Willow's first art exhibition launched with great fanfare. Initially, Willow worried that no one would come to her exhibition. After all, she was just an unknown art student. After graduation, she married Julian Fairchild and became a full-time housewife. She hadn't held a single exhibition or sold a single painting since getting married. She had no fame or reputation, either domestically or abroad. Could an exhibition by someone like her possibly succeed? During the days leading up to the exhibition, Willow was incredibly anxious, suffering from insomnia every night, her hair falling out in clumps. But she clearly underestimated her aunt and uncle's connections and influence in M country. On the opening day of the exhibition, prominent figures and socialites from all circles in M country attended. The exhibition was grand and elegant, the guests exuded sophistication, and the paintings hanging on the walls, full of artistic conception, received widespread acclaim. Several paintings were sold at high prices right after the opening. "Go say hello," Aunt Victoria found Willow, then gestured with her chin towards a handsome young man in a black suit with a noble air standing not far away. She introduced him with a smile. "That's Mr. Cole, the jewelry magnate. He just bought 5 of your paintings at a high price." As she spoke, Aunt Victoria secretly held up 5 fingers towards Willow and added in a whisper, $500,000 each. US dollars. $500,000 US dollars, that was nearly 4 million. Willow was stunned. She never in her wildest dreams imagined her paintings could sell for such a sky-high price. Chapter 18. This Mr. Cole had purchased 5 of Willow's paintings at the steep price of $500,000 USD each. For such a major client, it was only right and proper for Willow to go over and greet him. So, accompanied by her aunt, she approached Mr. Cole. "Mr. Cole, long time no see," Aunt Victoria greeted him familiarly, clearly acquainted with him. "I never expected such a busy man like yourself would have time to support my niece's exhibition." Hearing this, Harrison Cole smiled faintly. "I happen to have the day off. This is my niece, Willow Ashton," Aunt Victoria introduced with a smile. "She's an incredibly inspired artist. All the paintings in this exhibition are hers." Willow blushed at her aunt's praise, modestly saying, "Aunt Victoria, please don't tease me. I just paint casually." "Indeed, very inspired," Harrison Cole smiled. He turned slightly to look at the landscape painting behind him and offered a serious critique, especially this one. Although it depicts mountains and uses warm tones, for some reason, it evokes a feeling of vast desolation, of human solitude. "It's very moving." Willow couldn't help but be taken aback. She hadn't expected Harrison Cole to understand her painting. In fact, most of her works were like this. The colors were vibrant and intense, but the mood they expressed wasn't clamor and brilliance, but the solitude of the human heart. Like that unnamed song sings, the more noise, the more loneliness, the more prosperity, the more desolation. In this world, so many people come and go every day, yet each person's heart remains closed off, like an isolated island, unapproachable by anyone. Willow had been enveloped by this sense of loneliness since childhood. The livelier the surroundings, the more people, the more hustle and bustle, the lonelier she felt. "I've heard that every painting by an artist expresses their state of mind at a particular moment, but looking at Miss Ashton's paintings, it seems that beneath the bright and exaggerated colors, there's always a hint of vastness and solitude." Harrison Cole turned back, his gaze returning to Willow. "Miss Ashton, you're so young and so beautiful. How could you possess such a desolate state of mind?" This man had incredibly beautiful eyes, cool and deep. When he looked at you silently, it created an illusion, as if he could see right through all appearances, directly into your soul. Willow averted her gaze, unwilling to meet the eyes of such a formidable man. "Well, I've also heard that buyers are often willing to pay high prices for an artist's work because they resonate with the emotions expressed in the painting." "Mr. Cole, you don't look very old either, and you're so handsome and so successful in your career. Why would you resonate with such a desolate state of mind?" She didn't want to be seen through by a stranger, so she put on a prickly facade, throwing the question back at him. She expected this prominent Mr. Cole might be slightly displeased by her words. After all, given his status, few people likely dared to speak to him like that. Julian Fairchild was like that. When she was with Julian, she had to yield to him in everything, speak cautiously, never contradict him even slightly, or he would become unhappy. Before, Willow was terrified of making Julian unhappy. More accurately, she was afraid of making anyone unhappy. She always habitually pleased others, sacrificing her own feelings. But now, she refused to be like that anymore. She had made a clean break with the past. She wanted to face her new life with a completely new outlook. So, if this Mr. Cole was unhappy, let him be unhappy. Worst case, the conversation ends. As an introvert, she didn't particularly want to chat with him for too long anyway. However, to Willow's surprise, after hearing her words, Harrison Cole didn't get angry at all. Instead, he smiled elegantly. "Thank you for the compliment." Huh, Willow was dumbfounded. Her mouth moved faster than her brain, blurting out the next sentence without thinking, "I wasn't complimenting you." The amusement in Harrison Cole's eyes deepened. "Miss Ashton is quite forgetful. Didn't you just compliment me? Young, handsome, successful." Chapter 19. Willow was suddenly speechless. She had assumed Harrison Cole was the aloof, reserved type, a serious tycoon who rarely smiled. She hadn't expected. He was quite humorous. "Then should I thank you too for calling me beautiful earlier?" Willow couldn't help but smile. Seeing this, a smile touched Harrison Cole's eyebrows as well. "You finally smiled." Willow paused, her cheeks flushing slightly. Haven't I been smiling all along?" When her aunt brought her over to greet him, she had maintained a smile. Smiling was basic courtesy. Although she came from a poor background and rarely interacted with upper-class society, she understood this basic etiquette. "Before, you were just smiling politely." Harrison Cole's dark eyes gazed at Willow, filled with amusement. "Now you're truly happily smiling." Willow's heart stirred slightly. It was strange. She and this Mr. Cole had clearly just met for the first time, yet why could he see through her every move? The secret thoughts she had hidden deep inside since childhood, he seemed to understand them all. It was their first meeting, yet it felt as though they had known each other for a very long time. "You should smile more often. You look very beautiful when you smile," Harrison Cole said with a smile. When he complimented someone, he looked into their eyes, giving the impression that he was genuinely and seriously praising them. Willow felt a little embarrassed by his praise. She lowered her head slightly, not daring to meet his gaze. "Thank you, you too." After saying this, Willow suddenly remembered something. She turned her head to the left. Sure enough, someone was missing. Where was Aunt Victoria? Hadn't her aunt brought her over to greet Mr. Cole? How did she disappear in the blink of an eye? "Only just noticed your aunt left." Harrison Cole was amused by Willow's reaction. He silently moved closer to Willow, his tall figure perfectly enveloping her smaller frame. "A bit slow, aren't you? Or perhaps Miss Ashton's attention was entirely on me, so you overlooked everyone else." Willow's face flushed crimson. "Who said I was looking for my aunt? I wasn't. I noticed she slipped away long ago. I looked back just now because. Just then, a server came by with refreshments. Willow quickly picked a pastry from the tray and, blushing, tried to save face. "I was looking for something to eat." Saying this, she hastily stuffed the pastry into her mouth. Because she stuffed too much, her cheeks puffed out, looking inexplicably cute, like a little hamster hoarding food. Harrison Cole couldn't help but chuckle. "Eat slowly. No one's going to snatch it from you." Watching the two interact so harmoniously, Aunt Victoria, observing secretly from a distance, couldn't help but grin like a proud matchmaker. "Our Willow certainly has charm. She attracted a suitor so quickly," Aunt Victoria said proudly to Uncle David. "But although Harrison Cole is outstanding, it's not good for a woman to marry too early. Besides, Willow lives too rigidly, too suppressed. That's not good. Tonight, I need to have a good talk with Willow, teach her some relaxed and enjoyable foreign ways of life. Let her enjoy the beauty of dating more, not rush into marriage. Let those suitors pursue her for a while longer, enjoy the princess treatment." Hearing his wife's pronouncements, Uncle David smiled helplessly. "You, don't go corrupting Willow." "Get lost," Aunt Victoria gave her husband a playful kick. "What do you mean corrupt? I'm teaching Willow to enjoy life." Chapter 20. The art exhibition was a great success. Willow displayed 51 paintings, and within a single day, 33 were sold. Most were priced between $10,000 and $50,000 USD. Only the 5 purchased by Harrison Cole fetched the high price of $500,000 USD each. Harrison Cole actually paid 10 times the price for your paintings. In the evening, while helping Willow calculate the exhibition's income and expenses, Aunt Victoria teased her niece with a smile. "Willow, do you think he might be interested in you?" "Definitely not." Willow's mind was entirely on the money, completely unresponsive to her aunt's teasing. "I think he's just a flirt, sees a pretty young woman and wants to hit on her a bit." Hearing this, Aunt Victoria's eyes widened in considerable shock. "Are you kidding me?" Harrison Cole is famously known as the Ice King in these circles. His private life is extremely discreet. He never associates with unsavory women, and he never has a female companion with him at important events. "Ah," Willow finally looked up, shifting her gaze from the calculator. "Then why did he?" Halfway through, she abruptly realized and quickly shut her mouth, not daring to finish the sentence. "Then why did he start flirting with me right away, and flirted so much?" However, even though Willow didn't finish, Aunt Victoria had already guessed what she wanted to say. Thus, Aunt Victoria's face once again broke into a mischievous, matchmaking grin. "Why did he what? Did he flirt with you?" Willow's face instantly turned beet red. She picked up the calculator and bills, attempting to divert her aunt's attention. "Oh, Aunt Victoria, look, the pastries from this restaurant are so expensive we only had them provide pastries for one day, and it cost 10,000 USD. "Well, it's a Michelin-starred restaurant, so it's expected to be pricey," Aunt Victoria replied casually, then shifted the topic back to gossip. "In my opinion, Harrison Cole is definitely interested in you. He'll surely ask you out again soon. If he does ask you out, you might as well accept. Women only have these few years of youth. You should enjoy love while you're young, of course. Just enjoy the love part. Don't rush into marriage. You just came back to live with me. I'm reluctant to see you get married off." Willow was torn between laughter and tears. Just dating without marrying, wouldn't that be leading someone on? "That's the mindset back home. It's not like that abroad," Aunt Victoria said with a smile. "People abroad value freedom more, they aren't as eager for marriage. Many foreign couples live together for over a decade without getting married, even if they have 3 or 4 children, maybe the oldest is already in college, they still don't get a marriage certificate, don't get married." Pausing here, Aunt Victoria then amended, "Of course, I'm not saying marriage is bad. Naturally progressing into marriage while dating can be quite romantic too. What I mean is, don't treat marriage like a task. Don't think that just because you're dating someone, it has to end in marriage. Love is beautiful. You're so young and beautiful now, you should enjoy the beauty of love more. Don't put up such high walls and don't reject people's advances. You only live once, don't be timid, do whatever you want to do. Relax, Aunt Victoria has got your back." Willow knew her aunt saw her staying home all the time lately, not going out, not interacting with others, and was worried she might develop psychological issues from being cooped up. So she was trying to guide her, encouraging her to go out more, enjoy love, enjoy her youth, and not shut herself off because of one failed marriage. So she smiled and nodded. "Okay, since you've agreed, then if Harrison Cole asks you out, you'll definitely accept, right?" Aunt Victoria asked pointedly. "Yes," Willow nodded, completely unaware this was a trap. "If he asks me out, I will definitely go." "Excellent." The moment she finished speaking, Aunt Victoria cheered. "Harrison Cole just messaged me, asking to invite you to a yacht party. I've already accepted on your behalf." Willow, "Aunt Victoria, you tricked me." Chapter 21. Willow Ashton's art exhibition was a resounding success. On the opening day, not only did many socialites and dignitaries attend, but Aunt Victoria also invited numerous media outlets to help promote and build buzz. Consequently, right after the exhibition concluded, it made headlines in the art sections of major news media. One reporter even hailed Willow in their coverage as a rising star in the art world. "This reporter hit the nail on the head," Aunt Victoria exclaimed, holding her phone and reading the reports while showering her niece with praise. "Our Willow is exceptionally talented, truly inspired. Every painting is so vivid, so moving. She really is a rising star in the art world." Willow was momentarily at a loss, unsure whether to laugh or cry, but foreigners seemed to be like that. They never criticized or suppressed children. Instead, they offered unrestrained praise. Even if a child made a mistake, they would first praise the child, affirm their courage and honesty, and only then reason with them. Having lived abroad for a long time, Aunt Victoria had been influenced by the foreigners' praise-focused, educational approach. No matter what Willow did, she would lavish exaggerated praise on her. If Willow cooked, she'd praise the food as better than a Michelin 5-star chef's. If Willow swept the floor, she'd praise how quickly and well she swept. Even if Willow did nothing, just sat there simply, Aunt Victoria would praise, "My Willow has such good posture, so elegant just like me." Willow, I don't have to do anything, just exist, and I can still receive praise. It had to be said, Aunt Victoria's praise-based education had a significant positive impact on Willow. After all, growing up, Willow had constantly faced suppression. Although her mother loved her dearly, the pressures of life had long consumed all her mother's energy. Her mother always looked exhausted, completely lacking the time or energy to offer Willow any spiritual encouragement. Simply ensuring Willow was fed and warm had already taken all her strength. And after marrying Julian Fairchild, the Fairchild family spared no effort in suppressing Willow. Julian's mother, Eleanor Fairchild SR, looked down on Willow. No matter what Willow did, she would constantly find fault, pick quarrels. No matter how hard Willow tried, she could never please her. Julian's father, Arthur Fairchild, was even worse. He barely ever looked Willow directly in the eye. Willow had been married into the Fairchild family for 5 years, yet the Fairchilds never truly acknowledged her as their daughter-in-law. Living in such a constantly suppressive environment, Willow's personality became increasingly sensitive and insecure. Aunt Victoria's unreserved praise, however, gradually helped Willow build confidence. It was like a ray of sunshine, suddenly piercing through a sky thick with dark clouds, breaking through the gloom and completely illuminating Willow's life. Only then did Willow discover, with surprise, that she wasn't so bad after all. She realized she was beautiful. Many people here pursued her. And unlike Julian, these suitors didn't constantly put her down, belittle her, or disrespect her. On the contrary, they not only respected her greatly, but also frequently praised her. Someone even said she was like a moon goddess, gentle and beautiful. She realized she was talented. Her art exhibition received much praise, and many people liked her paintings. She realized she was capable. Everyone raved about her cooking. An elderly foreign neighbor even wanted to become her apprentice to learn Chinese cooking from her. She realized she had so many strengths. She had lived in a repressive environment for too long, blinding herself to her own good qualities. Fortunately, she had emerged now. Fortunately, the people around her now were people who loved her. Willow's art exhibition caused a small stir locally, appearing in the art sections of major news outlets. But since these were foreign media, and specifically the art section, Willow knew Julian never read the art news. He looked down on artists, considering them all useless, and their so-called artworks overpriced garbage only fools would buy. Therefore, Willow believed Julian likely wouldn't see these news reports and thus wouldn't discover her whereabouts. She even thought, with self-deprecating irony, even if Julian did see it, it wouldn't matter. Maybe Julian had already married Isabel Montgomery. He wouldn't care where she was now anyway. Unfortunately, Willow guessed wrong. Chapter 22. During the months Willow Ashton was missing, Julian Fairchild searched for her frantically. A workaholic who valued the Fairchild Corporation more than his own life, he had completely cast aside the company for Willow's sake, searching the world over for her. His obsession with Willow had reached a fever pitch. He ignored everyone's attempts to persuade him, disregarded his parents' scoldings. He wanted nothing else, he just wanted to see Willow again. Previously, he detested art, especially painters, because Isabel Montgomery had married a foreign painter. But ever since he learned that Willow's university major was fine arts, he no longer harbored any aversion towards painters. He even started paying attention to art news, aiming to learn more about art-related knowledge, so that when he found Willow in the future, he could show her that during her absence, he had worked hard to get closer to her, to love the things she loved. Willow, today is the 151st day since you left me. Where on earth did you go? Do you know how much I miss you? During these 100+ days, I have reflected deeply. I was a bastard before. I know I was wrong now. Please forgive me, okay? I have no other wish now. I just want to see you again. Please, I'm begging you, stop hiding from me. Come back to me. I really can't hold on much longer. In the 151 days since Willow left, Julian sent her messages almost every day. But every message vanished into the abyss. He never received a single reply. Julian was on the verge of collapse. Sometimes he even thought, could Willow truly be gone? Would he never see her again? Had he really, because of a foolish act of revenge, lost the person he loved most in his life? Just as these thoughts were driving Julian mad, he saw the news report from the foreign media about Willow's art exhibition. There was a picture of Willow in the news. She wore a pale cyan cheongsam, standing beside a landscape painting, smiling faintly, so serene, so elegant. Instantly, every muscle in Julian's body tensed. He stared fixedly at the photograph, not even daring to blink, as if afraid that with one blink, the Willow in the picture would disappear. Someone get someone here now? After a brief moment of overwhelming emotion, Julian yelled uncontrollably. Mr. Thompson, I want all the information about this art exhibition right now, immediately. Investigate everything related to this exhibition. Mr. Thompson acted quickly. Within an hour, he had found out where the exhibition was held and who had organized it. The exhibition was organized by a lady named Aline Ivanhoe, but according to my investigation, this Aline Ivanhoe should be Mrs. Fairchild. Mr. Thompson reported gravely. This is likely Mrs. Fairchild's English name. We can now confirm that Mrs. Fairchild is in M country. After searching for so long, he had finally found her. Julian was so moved he almost cried. Without the slightest hesitation, he immediately instructed Mr. Thompson to buy him a plane ticket to M country. Willow, thank you. Thank you for not giving up on your life. Thank you for being alive. Willow, wait for me. I'm coming to find you right now this time. I will absolutely not let go, nor will I ever give you the chance to leave me again. Chapter 23. Upon arriving in M country, Julian Fairchild immediately went to the location where Willow Ashton had held her art exhibition. He then proceeded down the street, inquiring at every shop, one by one. Finally, as dusk settled, he learned Willow's current address. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Julian rushed non-stop to the address where Willow lived. He had expected that Willow, arriving alone in a foreign country, would be living in very modest conditions. However, when he followed the address, he found himself standing before an incredibly luxurious mansion. A property like this, in such a location, couldn't be bought without spending several $100 million. How could Willow afford to live in such a place? Julian frowned, puzzled. Did I get the wrong address? Despite his doubts, Julian went up and knocked on the door. The door was opened by Willow's aunt, Victoria Ashton. She had never met Julian before, so initially her attitude was quite friendly. Hello, may I ask who you're looking for? I'm looking for Aline Ivanhoe, Julian replied in fluent English. Her Chinese name is Willow Ashton. I heard she lives here. Oh, you're Willow's friend? Aunt Victoria beamed. When did Willow make such a handsome friend? And she didn't even tell me. How inconsiderate. Hearing that the woman knew Willow, Julian finally breathed a sigh of relief. Although he didn't know why Willow was living in a mansion after coming abroad, at least he hadn't come to the wrong place. Willow lived here. He had finally found her. Is Willow here now? Julian asked, a touch of urgency in his voice. I really want to see her. Could you please call her out? What unfortunate timing. Willow just went out to a party, Aunt Victoria said regretfully. What's your name? Would you like to leave your phone number? When Willow comes back, I'll have her contact you. Julian was about to give his name, but the words caught in his throat. Willow was hiding from him. What if he gave his name and scared her away? He had finally found her after so much difficulty. He couldn't lose her again due to a moment of carelessness. It's all right. If Willow isn't here, I'll just wait here for her to return. Julian forced a bitter smile. I really need to see her. The man refused to even give his name, which made Aunt Victoria suspicious. Could he be some kind of creepy stalker? There were quite a few creeps abroad. It was better to be cautious. Suspecting Julian might be a stalker, Aunt Victoria didn't invite him inside. Instead, she discreetly closed the door, then snapped a photo of Julian through the window and sent it to Willow. Willow, this man came to the house looking for you. Do you know him? At that moment, Willow was on a date with Harrison Cole. Seeing the photo her aunt sent, the smile instantly froze on her face. Julian Fairchild, how did he find his way here? Willow, what's wrong? Harrison keenly noticed the change in Willow's demeanor and asked with concern, You look very pale. The moonlight was hazy, the candlelight dinner romantic, but Willow was in no mood to enjoy the romance now. I'm sorry, something came up at home. I need to go back. She rose gracefully, giving Harrison an apologetic look. What was bound to happen would eventually happen. There was no escaping it. Since Julian had sought her out actively, she might as well go back and see him make things clear to him, then tell him to get lost and stop disturbing her new life. Chapter 24. Harrison Cole naturally wasn't comfortable letting Willow Ashton leave alone, so he also stood up with her. "Then I'll drive you back." "No need," Willow quickly refused. I can go back by myself." Although she and Harrison hadn't officially confirmed their relationship, they had been on many dates. Back home, this would already be considered dating. Willow definitely didn't want to face the awkward confrontation of her current interest meeting her ex-husband, so although Harrison repeatedly insisted on driving her home, Willow still refused him and took a taxi home herself. After getting out of the taxi, Willow immediately saw Julian Fairchild standing under a streetlight, silently smoking. And Julian quickly spotted Willow too. He became instantly agitated. Willow dropping the half-smoked cigarette, Julian lunged towards Willow, pulling her into his arms fiercely, his voice filled with overwhelming emotion. Thank goodness, Willow. I finally found you. Do you know how hard I searched for you? I nearly turned the whole world upside down. 153 days, Willow. You've been gone from me for exactly 153 days. As he spoke, Julian couldn't control his tears. 153 days might not sound long, just under half a year. But every minute, every second of those 153 days felt like an eternity to Julian. He hadn't understood before, but after Willow left, he realized how much longing for someone could stretch time. "Willow, don't leave me again. Never ever leave me again." Julian's voice even choked with sobs. "I was wrong. I admit my mistakes to you. I shouldn't have brought Isabel Montgomery home, and I especially shouldn't have treated you like that. But that was all fake. I only did it to get revenge on Isabel. The person I truly love in my heart is actually you." Having finally seen Willow, Julian couldn't wait to pour out everything he had wanted to say to her during this time. He told Willow about his entire plan, told her the wedding was real, that he truly wanted to give Willow a grand, century-defining make-up wedding. It was all that idiot Jessica Fairchild's fault for messing things up. "I've already punished Jessica severely," Julian said. "I cut off her allowance for a year, confined her for a month, and strictly warned her never to be disrespectful to you again." After rambling on for a long time, Julian placed his hands on Willow's shoulders, softened his tone, and gently coaxed, "Willow, I know I did terrible things before. I know I was wrong now. I apologize to you. Forgive me and come home with me, okay? Let's start over." Hearing Julian's words, Willow couldn't help but smile. She never thought that in her lifetime she would actually receive an apology from Julian Fairchild. And she was even more surprised to realize she didn't care about Julian's apology at all. She had loved him, wholeheartedly, throwing caution to the wind. She had also hated him, hated his cruelty, his indifference, hated why he couldn't give her even the tiniest bit of love. She once desperately hoped to hear Julian confess his remorse to her. 5 years, 5 whole years, she had given her everything: her youth, her vitality, all her passion and love. Surely such a long time, such intense feelings, deserved at least a sorry, but he had never apologized to her. Despite the countless cruel and excessive things he had done to her, he had never once apologized. Not even once. Now he finally apologized, and Willow suddenly found that she no longer cared. Chapter 25. After quietly listening to Julian Fairchild finish speaking, Willow Ashton replied calmly, "Julian, we are already divorced. It's impossible for me to go back with you. My feelings for you were completely exhausted by your relentless neglect and torment day after day. I stopped loving you a long time ago, so go back by yourself. I don't need you in the rest of my life, and I won't accompany you in yours." These simple words, however, caused Julian to completely break down. His eyes blazed with fury. "No, what divorce? I don't agree. You tricked me into signing those divorce papers. I didn't even read them before signing. That divorce agreement doesn't count. We are still husband and wife. You can't leave me, you can't leave me." Julian had descended into a state of mania. He gripped Willow's arm, roaring uncontrollably like a madman. Willow struggled continuously, but couldn't break free. And this madman, Julian, actually started dragging Willow towards his car, trying to force her inside and take her away. In the nick of time, a tall, imposing figure appeared and punched Julian, sending him reeling. Willow, still shaken, looked up sharply and saw a very familiar face. "Harrison Cole, what are you doing here?" Willow asked, startled. Harrison stepped forward, shielding Willow behind him. "You look terrible. I was worried about you, so I secretly followed in my car." "Fuck," Julian, knocked to the ground by the punch, now staggered back to his feet. Seeing Harrison and Willow acting so intimately, he instantly exploded with rage. "Who the hell are you? Let go of my wife." With that, he swung his fist, rushing towards Harrison. Harrison was certainly no pushover. He caught Julian's incoming fist, then executed a quick takedown, pinning him against the car. "Wife. Ha, didn't you hear Willow? She already divorced you. Willow has nothing to do with you now." This sentence completely enraged Julian. He struggled with all his might, broke free from Harrison's hold, and then the two men started brawling. Both were trained fighters and physically strong, making it difficult to determine a clear winner initially. Willow kept trying to intervene from the side, but couldn't stop them. Finally, Aunt Victoria and her family came out. Uncle David stepped forward, ostensibly to break up the fight, but once he got there, he started helping Harrison beat up Julian. "Willow, weren't you supposed to break it up? Why are you foreigners taking sides too?" Meanwhile, Aunt Victoria watched with great enthusiasm from the sidelines, cheering her husband on. Hit him, beat that scumbag to death, teach him to bully our Willow. Willow. This is so tiring. I feel like I'm the only adult here." With Uncle David joining in, Julian quickly lost the upper hand. He was beaten black and blue by the two strong men. "Julian Fairchild, go back home," Willow said flatly. "When I needed you before, you were never there. Now that I don't need you anymore, you don't need to show up either." However, Julian refused to give up just like that. Despite being covered in blood, he gritted his teeth and said, "No, Willow, I finally found you after so much trouble. If you don't come back with me, I won't go back. Since I lost you, I'll just win you back again. As long as you're not married, I will persistently pursue you until you fall in love with me again." Chapter 26. If it were the past, hearing Julian Fairchild say this might have deeply moved Willow Ashton. But now, her heart was like still water, completely indifferent. "Do as you please," she tossed out coldly, then turned and walked away. In the time that followed, Julian did exactly as he said, beginning a frantic pursuit of Willow. He sent her a large bouquet of roses every day, showered her with jewelry and gifts every few days, trying every trick in the book to make Willow happy. However, the roses he sent went unreceived, and all the gifts were returned to him by Willow. Yet, even so, Julian refused to give up. When gifts didn't work, he resorted to playing the victim. On a snowy day, he stood downstairs from Willow's house, holding a boombox playing love songs, his lips turning purple from the cold, yet refusing to leave. Faced with such self-destructive behavior from Julian, Willow simply closed her window coldly. Not only that, but during the period Julian was desperately pursuing her, Willow continued to date Harrison Cole. Julian saw countless times Willow getting into Harrison's car, having candlelit dinners with him, watching movies together. Many nights, she even stayed over at Harrison's place. Julian was practically driven mad with jealousy, but he had no standing whatsoever to criticize Willow, because he and Willow were divorced, and he himself had even brought Isabel Montgomery home while they were still married, spending entire nights in Isabel's room. Having done such things, what right did he have to criticize Willow? As Willow and Harrison's dates became more frequent, Julian finally understood, heartbroken, that he couldn't win his Willow back, but he still refused to give up. He had said, as long as Willow wasn't married, he would continue pursuing her. Although it was already too late, he was willing, for the last time, to honor a promise. When they were married, he never fulfilled any of the promises he made to Willow. Now, divorced, he remembered the importance of keeping his word. But it was all too late. Julian persisted for a whole year. During that year, he tried every conceivable method to win Willow back. But in the end, what he received was a wedding invitation from Willow Ashton and Harrison Cole. "I've completely lost you, haven't I?" Julian forced a bitter smile. Though he had known the answer for a long time, at this moment, he still felt as if his heart had been gouged out. Willow smiled. "Julian Fairchild, you lost me long ago. Belated affection is worthless." As Willow said, when she needed him, he was never there. And now that she no longer needed him, his appearance was utterly irrelevant. A year and a half ago, she had already withdrawn all the love she had given him. Her future life no longer required his company, but he still hadn't emerged from the shadow of losing her. Watching Willow, dressed in her wedding gown, walk down the aisle with Harrison Cole into the church, Julian knew he would never be able to escape this shadow for the rest of his life. He had lost the person who loved him most in the world, and now, no matter what he did, he could never win her back. He would miss her for the rest of his life, spending his remaining years in regret and pain. She had left. In this world, there was no longer anyone who could help him overcome this trial of love. However, he deserved no sympathy because he brought it all on himself. It served him right.